Hello everyone, this is Navarsha, Assistant Professor, Department of CSE, Engineering College Bikaner. Today we will see the some of the functions of transport layer, and we have till now we have studied about data link layer, network layer, and functionalities and some protocols of data link layer and network layer. So in today's lecture we will see the some of the basics of transport layer, and then we will see UDP and TCP in the following lectures. So, first of all, see transport. What is the purpose of transport layer? Basically, whenever you transmit a message, so see each layer has some functionality. Means like if you take data link layer, so data link layer is basically it is responsible for the delivery of frames between two neighboring nodes over a link. This is basically known as a node to node delivery. Means it is not responsible for that particular process in which you are running your application. Okay, network layer is responsible for delivery of datagrams between two hosts. So this is basically host to host delivery. See, whenever you transfer any message or any packet, so what is your goal is to send the message to that to the means that particular destination. See, let's suppose if you are if you have a computer or any mobile. So if you are running your applications like at the same time, you may run different applications like you may run a word file, you may run your YouTube file, you may run any PDF file. So these three are running, you are running these simultaneously. So these three are nothing but the processes. So your ultimate goal is not to transfer the message from one host to another host. The goal is to transfer the message or the packet or anything which you are taking from server to that particular process. So that thing is done by transport layer. The transport layer is basically responsible for process to process delivery of a packet, part of message from one process to another. So a process is an application program that is running on a host. Okay, these are the basic services of transport layer. So first of all, service point addressing. So basically, whenever see types of addresses are there. Service type point addressing means process address, or you can say the port address. So in transport layer, we have service point addressing. Means we are talking. See, in data link layer we have MAC address, in network layer we have IP address, in transport layer we have service point address or port address. That port address is nothing but the address of that particular process. Like we have differentiated between the three processes. So the transport layer is responsible for that particular process, and how the process can be identified using service point addresses, that it is also known as port address. Okay, next thing is connectionless and connection oriented services. See, transport layer is basically two types of services are there: connectionless and connection oriented. So transport layer is responsible for both the services, whether it is connectionless or connection oriented. So whether the service is connectionless or connection oriented, so we have two different protocols for connectionless service and connection oriented service. We will see in detail. And next, it is also responsible for flow and error control. So we have seen in data link layer was also responsible for flow and error control, but that time it means data link layer is only for a particular area, means local area network or a small network. Transport layer is responsible for the flow and error control for the for inter network, means for different networks. Okay, next we have types of data delivers. See, the transport layer is basically responsible for process to process delivery, and so two processes communicate in basically client and server relationship. So see, this is the okay. See, from this is a host, and these are the processes which are running on this host. I have told you about the host, like Word file, Internet Explorer, or Google Chrome, or any application like Skype, or any Play Store, any file manager you have opened. All these are nothing but the applications or the processes. So these processes are running on this host, and this is the network, or you can say internet. So from here to here it is node to node delivery, node to node, node to node, node to node. So if I take this host and this host, so from this to this this is known as host to host delivery. And from this particular process to this particular process we have process to process. So this is here the functionality, the part of the transport layer comes. Okay, next, what is client server paradigm? A process on a local host is known as client, and which needs services from a process which is known as server, and which is hosted remotely. Both the processes, or both the processes basically are of they have the same name. But for example, if you to get a data, to get the day and time from a remote machine, we need a dynamic client process running on local host, and a daytime server process which running on a remote machine. So today operating systems support both multi-user and multi-programming environment. So remote computer can run several server programs at the same time, just as local computers can run one or more client programs at the same time. Okay, so next we will see addressing. See, whenever we need to deliver something to one specific destination, we need an address. Okay, so at data link layer we have MAC address. Okay, so which can choose one node among several nodes. Okay, a frame is in the data link layer needs a destination address, MAC address for delivery, and a source address for the next node's reply. At network layer we have IP address, so that we can choose one host among millions. A datagram in a network layer needs a destination IP address for delivery, and also a source IP address. Okay, so at transport layer basically we need a transport layer address which is known as port address to choose among multiple processes running on a destination host. The destination port number is needed for delivery. So here we have port number, port addresses. So the source port number is needed for the reply. Okay, so basically in today's internet model, the port number are 16 bits, 16 bit integers. So 16 bit means 0 from 0 to 65535 it has. The client programs define itself with a port number chosen randomly by the transport layer, and this is a formal port number. uh, Basically the server, if we see, two types of host are there, client and server. Server process must also define itself with the port number. So the port number of server we have fixed. Why? Because if the computer at the server side runs a server process, and if we assign a random number as a port number, then the process at the client side which want to access the server and use its services will not be able to take the port number. Of course, we can have one solution, that we can ask from the server for a port number every time, and server will reply, but this requires more overhead. So basically the internet has decided to use universal port number for servers, and these are known as well known port numbers. So some servers are there which obviously are we give them random port numbers, but every client process known the well port number of the corresponding server. For example, if while if you the daytime client process can use a temporary port number. Let's suppose it is 52,000 to identify itself, and that if the daytime server process must use the well port number 13. Okay, so this is the scenario of client and server. So client will simply request for this port number and the data will go there, and again the server will reply. Okay, the destination IP address defines the host among the different hosts in the world. So after the host has been selected, the port number defines one of the processes on this particular host. Okay, so next we have IP addresses versus port number. See, this is the IP header. Okay, in IP header we have this is the IP address, and here we have port number. So at the transport layer, this port number will be extracted, and the service which is being provided by this port number will be given to the client. Okay, see, Internet Assigned Number Authority, that is IANA, it has divided the port numbers into three ranges. Okay, so first one is well known port number, then registered port number, and then dynamic. So well known ports are the ports which ranges from 0 to 1023 and are assigned and controlled by IANA. These are well known port numbers. Registered port numbers are the ports ranging from 1024 to 49151. They are not assigned or controlled by IANA, but they can only be registered with IANA to prevent duplication. Next we have dynamic ports. The ports ranging from 49152 to 65535 are neither controlled or not registered. They can be used by any process. They are used for client processes. Client, if whenever the client wants to communicate to any server, it can take the port number. Not a client. Whenever a client is see, if you have client and server, so any client can become a server at any point of time. So at that time the client will need a port number, so that port number will be given from these dynamic ports because they are freely available. So these are the ranges of IANA. Okay, 0 to 1023, this is well known port numbers. These are registered and these are dynamic. Okay, next we will see what is socket address. See, process to process delivery needs two identifiers. One is IP address and another one is the port number. So the combination of IP address and port number is known as socket address. The client socket address defines the client process uniquely, just as the server socket address defines the server process uniquely. So a transport layer protocol needs a pair of socket addresses, the client socket address and the server socket address. These four pieces of information are part of the IP header and the transport layer protocol header. The IP header contains the IP address and the UDP or TCP header or contains the port numbers. UDP and TCP are nothing but the protocols of the transport layer. So this is IP address and this is port number. So this whole is known as socket address. Okay, one functionality of transport layer is multiplexing and demultiplexing. So the addressing mechanism allows multiplexing and demultiplexing by the transport layer. So basically what is multiplexing? At the sender side there may be several processes that needs to send the packets. However, there is only one transport layer protocol at any time. This is a many to one relationship, and this also requires multiplexing. So the protocol accepts message from different processes differentiated by their assigned port numbers. After adding the header, the transport layer passes the packet to the network layer. So this is multiplexing. So next, demultiplexing is just opposite of multiplexing. At the receiver side, the relationship is one to many and requires demultiplexing. The transport layer receives datagrams from the network layer, and after error checking and after dropping of the header, the transport layer delivers each message to the process based on the port number. So that is what is demultiplexing. Okay, next we have connectionless and connection versus connectionless and connection oriented services. Connectionless service is something in means randomly packets are transmitted. In the packets are sent from one party to another with no need of connection establishment, or there is no connection establishment and there is no connection release. The packets are not numbered. They may be delayed, or they may be lost, or there may be out of order sequence. There can be duplicacy of the packets. There is no acknowledgement. So, and this is something connectionless service. So next we have connection oriented. In connection oriented service, basically we have three phases. First one is connection establishment, then data transfer, and then connection is release. So this is something reliable. Okay, next we have reliable versus unreliable. Transport layer provide both the services, whether it is reliable or unreliable. So the transport, if any application layer program needs reliability, then we use a reliable transport layer protocol by implementing some flow and error control at the transport layer only. So this will slower and more complex service. If the application program does not need any reliability because it uses its own flow and error control mechanism, or it needs fast service, or the nature of the service does not demand flow and error control like real time applications, then an unreliable protocol can also be used. So basically we have, okay, this is the error control. So see, this is data link layer, and then network layer. So from this particular host to this particular host, this is the transport layer which is providing the error checking. So basically in transport layer we have three protocols. So these are the positions of transport layer in the head, in the TCP IP suite. So SCTP, TCP and UDP, these three are the protocols which we are going to study. TCP is basically, it is for connection oriented service, UDP is for connection less service, and it is for reliable service, and it is for unreliable service. So okay, I think it's enough for today, and we will see TCP and UDP in further lectures. Thank you so much.